And what might be the most shocking announcement of 2024, Cedar Point has announced a new 2025 roller coaster just a year after Top Thrill 2, and it is none other than a Vekoma tilt coaster called Siren's Curse.
This is very bizarre on a lot of levels, which we'll kind of break down here. I will start off by saying we're in Japan. If you couldn't tell by our backdrop, I feel like it's very Japanese feeling.
Yeah, we are at our Airbnb in between our visits to Tobu Zoo and Fuji-Q Highland. We are filming Coastin' Through Asia. We are so excited to bring this series to you later this year. But we were literally on the subway when we saw the announcement from Cedar Point. We were like, holy crap, this is a big deal. We got to talk about this.
Yeah, so this is going to be a Vekoma tilt coaster. If it opens when it's supposed to, it will be the first one, which is very weird because there have been like 3 different parks now that have been like, we're getting the first tilt coaster.
Yeah, literally. So you have Circuit Breaker. Then there's the talks of the Six Flags Mexico one, which we'll get to that in a second. And then you also have the one that is almost like fully done at this point, going to Six Flags Qiddiya. So
and you also have Energylandia that was supposed to get one.
Right, exactly. So this is crazy. But this one had no rumors, no speculation,
no leaks,
no permit filing. This seems, in my opinion, very last minute.
Like, or just very under wraps, very heavy NDAs.
So either way, props to Cedar Point, props to Vekoma for keeping this hush-hush. But this is wild. I don't think anyone expected a big roller coaster of this caliber to go to Cedar Point next year. Because we thought that there could be a new ride as soon as they announced Snake River Falls. The water ride would be closing. But people didn't think it was going to be a tilt coaster.
Well, it's not even in the same plot of land.
No, that's what's so crazy. So this is going next to
Call that a red herring.
Literally, this is going next to Valraven, taking up the site of the old employee dorm. So currently, this is where you'd be driving on Perimeter Road to go around to the back of the park. So they are going to have to reroute the road a little bit. But that plot of land has been sitting empty for several years, and then it's like, oh, surprise, we decided now's the time to put a roller coaster there.
So we'll talk about that first. The whole idea of putting a tilt coaster next to a dive coaster is a little weird because they're similar gimmicks.
Yes, yeah. One holds you over the drop, the other also holds you over the drop, but this time you have the track disconnect. Like,
yeah, it's interesting.
In the grand scheme of things, I don't think the general public will care. They're just going to be like, whoa, like, taking pictures. Like, a tilt coaster makes sense at Cedar Point because...
Yeah, they can coexist in the same park. It's just weird that they're next to each other.
Yeah, it is bizarre. I will also say the fact that this roller coaster is... I don't want to say small, but it is not as big or grand as I was expecting from a roller coaster at Cedar Point, which leads into some other discussions that we'll get to. I'll at least run through the stats so you can see what I'm talking about. Height of 160 feet, max speed 58 miles per hour, length 2,965 feet of track. So, and that's also with 2 inversions and a vertical drop. So one of several roller coasters at Cedar Point to feature a vertical drop.
So this is interesting because, like, to me, when they put out the survey, because the tilt coaster was tossed around, right? Because they put out a survey with a couple different options. Tilt coaster is one of them. In my head, I envisioned if they ever got a tilt coaster, it was going to try to be a record breaker. Like, they would let another park, like Codaland or whatever, open and then be like, now we're going to make one bigger, and I expect it over 200 feet. I'm not upset that it's not.
Yeah, well, that's what the Qiddiya one is. That's a hyper coaster.
Mm-hmm. So... there are some theories about that. Like you said, we'll get into that a little bit later. But I want to talk about the fact that they're doing this now.
Yes.
So
this is weird timing. Really weird timing.
So the elephant in the room is Top Thrill 2. It's a very large elephant.
Not working.
It's not working. It lasted for
8 days in total.
8 days.
4 of them were during public operation. The others were previews or media days.
Yes. So not very long. People buy season passes under a pretense that, hey, I'm going to get this specific experience or ride or something, and then when it's not delivered, people get very upset. And a lot of people already had trips planned, a lot of negative press around it. It's a catastrophe for Cedar Point and for Zamperla.
Yeah.
So you have a couple options when something happens like that. And it seems like the route they were taking was, we're going to open this in 2025, and that'll be a grand reopening, or like we're gonna pretend that those 8 days didn't happen and we're gonna do it all over again.
Yeah, or there was some speculation that maybe they would do something not as big of a deal, because especially since Top Thrill 2 was not a small investment. Like people sometimes say, "Oh, they got a discount Zamperla." Look, regardless, they spent a ton of money on this thing, and so it seemed like even though yes, Cedar Point is like the roller coaster capital, it was like okay, 2025 is probably gonna be a smaller year. Like I speculated at the beginning of the year that it would probably be something in Cedar Point Shores because they removed some water slides. Like I was thinking a water coaster there,
or like a water coaster in the park, like a or a splash,
a new log flume or something, So that was why I don't think people expected this.
They could very well say, you know what, we feel really, really, really bad about what happened for all the people that bought season passes. So now we're gonna go balls to the wall. 2025, we're gonna not only reopen. Like have a grand reopening of Top Thrill 2, but we're also going to put a tilt coaster in the park.
Yeah,
that is possible.
We're sorry. We're trying to make it up to it because they probably have a lot of pass holders that are like, well, I spent this money, so now I have to go back like next year to experience that thing. But now it's like, okay, well, there are actually two reasons. So I think Top Thrill 2 will be ready on opening day 2025. I think that's absolutely what they're pushing for, and they have plenty of time to go through the necessary redesigns and improvements over the off season. And the big thing that they mentioned at the very end of the press release for Siren's Curse is that this is scheduled to open in early summer 2025, which is actually a big deal because Cedar Fair notoriously opens their new attractions on opening day, and Cedar Point always opens in May. So we're looking at early summer 2025, which goes along with the theory that this was a later decision because also we have a fairly late announcement, which is towards the end of September, with little to no teasing. We had one little post hinting at something would be Siren themed, and it was not very long ago at all. So I wonder if at the beginning of this year, this was the plan for 2025 to add a tilt coaster, or if there was something else planned and they had to shift some things around after Top Thrill 2 didn't go as planned.
Well, that also, like I said, could mean that they made a last minute decision to go ahead and do it faster.
Yeah, fast track a new coaster.
We're going to put something that's really awesome in for 2025 that's like legitimately brand new, that isn't just Top Thrill 2. So that way you don't feel as bad about having to purchase another season pass.
Yeah.
Because you would have wanted to come back for a tilt coaster
anyways. Yeah. So then that brings into the next rumor and things that people are talking about, and that is, was this tilt coaster originally planned for Cedar Point? So it's well known at this point that Energylandia was supposed to get a tilt coaster, and that ride got canceled. And so there was a ride that was designed, had started fabrication, and then it's like, okay, well, Vekoma's like, well, we have this ride, who wants it? And we believed that Six Flags Mexico was getting it because there was track sitting in the parking lot, and then we never got an announcement from Six Flags Mexico that, hey, we're adding this in 2025.
Well, we kind of did.
We sort of did, but it wasn't what people thought. It was a post saying, basically acknowledging that, yes, we are working on a new coaster, but it was actually kind of a, oops, turns out we can't demolish any trees to put this ride in, so we have to find a new location for it. So they're probably not going to be opening anything in 2025, maybe 2026.
So, like, is this that one?
Yeah, is it possible that maybe Six Flags Mexico didn't work out and so then they are sending it to Cedar Point, or is Six Flags Mexico's just delayed? Or was it always supposed to go to Cedar Point and then Six Flags Mexico's is just brand new? I don't know. The problem is
they're both red.
They're both red. So who knows? We might never find out. We didn't have an official layout that was released for Energylandia's tilt coaster. But this looks generic enough that it could have been for any park that sits on flat ground.
Yeah. I mean, it's all very, very interesting because Cedar Point has one of the most dedicated fan bases of any park that isn't like Disney or Universal.
Yeah.
And people who watch Disney and Universal permitting and everything like that, like they watch them like hawks.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's very odd to me that if this was in the works for a while, that it didn't make its way onto the internet at any point.
Also think about the natural progression of construction and how long that takes. Like, think of how King's Dominion was just getting the ball rolling. Like, opening day, there was all those construction fences. There were crews actively working. Rapterra is going to be open mid-March. Like, that thing is, like, got this track work completed. And that's supposed to open the same year as this, where currently we do not have fences up. I don't even think there are markers in the ground. and there's definitely not track on site. Like, there's just so much that Cedar Point has to do that it says that it is scheduled to open in early summer 2025. I think we will have to wait and see.
Well, here's the thing. If they say that, they kind of have to deliver because they already are on thin ice with a lot of their fans after Top Thrill 2. So if they say early summer and then they don't get that thing open in time,
it's an empty promise, and people will be like,
it's going to be a catastrophe.
Like, you promised this, and now this also
they can't handle any more bad press. Not that they're going to, like, crash and burn, but, like, you know.
It's not a good look.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the end of the day, when this does open, I genuinely think people are going to love it because this looks to be a fantastic ride experience.
Yeah.
Like, the layout looks great.
I am very excited to see high thrill Vekomas in the U.S. because right now we pretty much have, I mean, obviously we have the Super Boomerang that is like, eventually.
Also 2025. This is supposed to open the same year as the Super Boomerang and Great Adventure. Just
well,
think
that
about
wasn't
that.
supposed to happen.
I know, but here we are.
It feels like none of this was supposed to happen, but whatever. Yeah, but right now we just have the, like, family boomerangs for, like, new Vekoma coasters.
In the U.S. and Big Bear Mountain, you know?
Yeah.
So, no, this will be a very different story. I love that we're starting to get tilt coasters everywhere. Because, I mean, prior to this, you had the one in Taiwan, Gravity Max, and then just a huge gap where we never saw one. And then they started testing the prototype, and now it's like all these parks start picking them up, and it just makes sense. This is a gimmick, but a really freaking good one. And it's not just going to be just the tilt. It's a full ride afterwards.
And it's going to be a really good layout. And, like, we've done high thrill Vekomas, and they are fantastic. Like, the new Vekomas. Like, Phoenix, great. Let Coaster, I don't expect it to be like that, but also great.
Yeah, but, I mean, honestly, the layout reminds me a lot of Phoenix, what they did, which is a lot of these twisted hills. There's going to be, I want to say 13 ejector moments, or 13 airtime moments, and there's 2 inversions. Both of them are, I want to say, barrel rolls, and they go real close to the ground. Like, the first inversion on this ride is so low, it reminds me of, like, Cedar Point bringing back the Heartline roll on Maverick. They're like, we'll try that again. I think it's going to be really, really whippy.
Oh my God, they better not remove that one, too.
Oh, please. No, it'll be good. It'll be good.
But a tilt coaster is very awesome for this park. It wasn't my first choice for Cedar Point because of Valraven.
I wanted this at Kings Island.
I agree.
Put this where Vortex was.
That was what I was imagining too, but now I think that ship has most certainly sailed because you're not going to put 2 tilt coasters in the same chain in the same state.
I can't believe that Cedar Point is putting a coaster where the Dorms was before Kings Island is putting a coaster where Vortex was. Like, this is just, none of this was on my bingo card. It's crazy. Again, I'm not mad about tilt coasters, to your point. I think this is going to be a great ride. I'm excited to go experience it. But it's just like, looking back at everything, I'm like, this was not what I expected to happen at all.
Well, no, and like, I mean, things are definitely going to be changing with like the merger and everything. We've already seen how so many things, like the merger, first of all, not expected. And then like all the delays with the Six Flags coasters, not expected. Seems like a lot of things are being changed around now, like especially now that, you can have a coaster planned for Six Flags Mexico, and then if that doesn't work out, you can send it to Cedar Point, and like they have a lot of leeway now and like a lot of options. If something doesn't work out for one place, or if one place needs it more than the other, like, hey, maybe Mexico wanted to put that coaster in, and then they were having issues with permits, and Cedar Point was like, oh my God, we need something, we're so screwed because Top Thrill 2 was having too many problems, and they're like, here you go.
Yeah, they're at the point where they could reach out to manufacturer and be like, create a custom layout, and then we'll figure out which park it's going to later.
That's like a legitimate theory. Like, for like flat ground parks, like obviously terrain won't work, but if it's flat.
If you're flexible on like the exact dimensions, then why not, Just see which parks are like doing the best in terms of attendance, and you have a lot more parks in the chain now to choose from.
Honestly, I do wonder if the survey that went out was like, at that point, they'd already determined that Top Thrill 2 was screwed for the rest of the year and that they needed to do something. And those were all coasters that were planned. And they're like, let's see what people want more, and we'll just pick that one.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough to say, because like if they're planning something for 2025, that means in theory this ride is being manufactured and has been manufactured. They've started manufacturing it for a little bit now.
If it is the one from Mexico, it could be done.
Who knows? Yeah, it's just man, I don't know. And the thing is, we'll probably never find out the answer. Like, that's just kind of the reality of this stuff. That's what it's speculation.
We have detectives in this community.
That is true, but it is like some of the stuff is just so behind the scenes that it's just that's what we're here for. We're taking our best guess.
I don't know. Do your detective work.
Yeah, but let us know down in the comments below what you think of this brand new coaster coming to Cedar Point. Super exciting, regardless that the roller coaster capital of the world is receiving their 19th roller coaster, and it's going to be an awesome ride.
I'm very excited to prove all the Vekoma deniers wrong. A lot of people still, they're like, nah, there's no way they're good.
Go to Europe. They're all good there. Yeah, or wait till next year. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.